Biden had a lot of things to say over the weekend, and I'm going to get into some of them because, it is so incredibly frustrating for somebody, and I know that a lot of you folks are the same way, where we know the truth and we know what's going on in America today. And part of what's going on in America, much of what's going on in America, is clearly, obviously, Joe Biden's fault. And so he was speaking at Morehouse College. That is one of these historically black colleges and universities. This was over the weekend. And of course, we talked about this on Friday, where the president is failing in the polls. He is failing miserably at the polls. And so what does he do? He goes out and he does the same old pandering that the Democrat Party has been doing for years, of course, and that is Biden style.
To show you democracy is still in the way. If black men are being killed in the street, we bear witness. For me, that means to call out the poison of white supremacy.
So he's sitting there, Joe Biden, and he's in front of all of these students at Morehouse College. And he talks about how white supremacy is killing black men in the streets, right? Did you hear what he said? Listen for this one more time. And by the way, what I'm doing is I'm debunking a lot of the lies that Joe Biden told over the weekend.
To show you democracy is still in the way. If black men are being killed in the street, we bear witness. For me, that means to call out the poison of white supremacy.
So he says black men are being killed in the streets, and he references white supremacy. And I guess I'm a little confused because is it really white supremacy that is killing? I mean, let's just be honest here. Is it really white supremacy that is killing black men in the streets? I mean, the president himself said that black men are being killed in the streets. Or is it gang affiliation that is killing black men in the streets? I mean, think about that. The last stats I looked at, it was like 90% black on black crime, where black men are being killed in the streets, and that is by another black person, typically another black man. So is it really white supremacy, Joe Biden, or is it black on black crime? Now, listen, I wouldn't even be bringing this up except that Biden told lie after lie after lie. And so I'm watching this speech and I'm wondering, is anyone at Morehouse, all of these great college graduates who I'm sure they're all very smart. And I'm not meaning that in a snarky way. I mean, I do believe that they're very smart people, these college graduates at Morehouse. And so I do wonder if any of those college graduates heard that statement and thought, well, that's not what the stats say. It's not white supremacy that is killing black men in the streets, which is what the president said. It's other, black men. Now, is this an uncomfortable conversation to have? Well, no, because I'm speaking to the stats. That's what the stats say. Now, look, I don't stand by white supremacy, but I also don't stand by race-baiting lies that the president is saying that are really geared to gin up votes. He also spoke about other things as well. I want to get into this comment that the president made, and it's about what is going on in the black communities. Because part of what he had to say also is filled with lies and a narrative. Here's what he said.
Instead of a trail of broken promises, we're investing more money than ever in black families and black communities.
All right. So again, remember, this is all about pandering. This is all about pandering, and this is all about trying to gin up votes from the black community. So listen one more time.
Instead of a trail of broken promises, we're investing more money than ever in black families and black communities.
All right. So one of the things that I would ask is think about the environment that these college graduates are graduating into. They want to be able to make their own money. They want to be able to go out and buy a home, buy a car, pay off some debt, earn a living that enables them to keep up with Joe Biden's inflation. Bidenflation. And so he can talk all day long and twice on Sunday.
Instead of a trail of broken promises, We're investing more money than ever in black families and black communities.
About investing in black communities, investing in, black neighborhoods and whatever. But you see, it's my contention that black Americans, white Americans, all Americans basically want to be in a position to succeed. Basically want to be able to be put in a situation where they are able to support their own family. And that's the bottom line. Now, President Biden, because he is trying to buy votes and try and manipulate the black community through racist conversations and racist statements, what he's really trying to do is just provoke racism and trying to manipulate these students and the black community at large to vote for him and vote for the Democrats, because he understands that they understand that the Democrat Party has abandoned them. And that Joe Biden, his economy itself, has put them in the position not to succeed, but to fail. And so for Joe Biden, he's not able to provide that environment where everyone wins. So he just kept on race baiting.
I have more African Americans in high places, including on the court, than any president in American history.
All right. So again, if you missed that, he talks about how he's got African Americans as part of his administration.
I have more African Americans in high places, including on the court, than any president in American history.
So sadly, I will say to Joe Biden, the top three really don't necessarily represent all that great. Ketanji Brown Jackson couldn't tell us what a woman is. Remember that whole thing? Kamala Harris, black vice president, incredibly unpopular. Karine Jean-Pierre, widely considered the worst press secretary in the history of press secretaries. It's like she's a joke. By the way, amongst both sides of the aisle, Democrats and Republicans. Oh, but the lies continued, and we're going to, and the reason I'm playing these is because I think it is important for you to understand what we as a party are up against. Now, on the one hand, I think it's actually kind of positive for conservatives that Joe Biden is lying, and they're all such provable lies, because the longer that he does this, the better it's going to be for conservatives, because I believe that by and large, these young college graduates at Morehouse, I believe that they understand and they know that the president is pandering and the president is lying. Going over some of the, some of the more important, although I don't think any of these are really all that important, but, some of the more important audio bites from Joe Biden, the president, as he was speaking to graduates at Morehouse College. Now, remember, on Friday, we went over some of the things that the president is doing to try to win back the support of the black community. And he was, one of the things he was going to do was, as we're talking about right now, he was going to give the commencement at Morehouse College. He was going to go to some NAACP function. He was going to go to I think it was the African American Museum of Art and History or whatever the heck it was. But I mean, nothing, at least to me, nothing that will solve the problems and the plight of black Americans. And that's really rooted right now. The biggest one, I believe, is the economy, isn't it? And because he can't fix that problem, because he can't fix Bidenflation, then he continues to lie, and he continues to just throw out these hand grenades of lying and racism, including this one that has been debunked. I cannot tell you how many times.
Today in Georgia, they won't allow water to be available to you while you wait in line to vote in an election. What in the hell is that all about? I'm serious. Think about it.
So it's political organizations who are not allowed to give out water. So if you're running for office, understandably, your staff cannot go out and hand folks bottles of water.
Sounded like about 3 people clapped.
Well, one of the headlines out there today is that the president got mild applause. Meantime, did you see, I'm going to get back to my audio bites, but did you see Trump over the weekend? He was in Minnesota, and I think he gave another speech. It was on Saturday night. It was either Pennsylvania or Michigan, I think. But he had thousands of people going incredibly wild. Coming up during the break, I'm going to tweet out a really great troll that President Trump, former President Trump, posted on social media. It is amazing. I'm going to get to that here. As soon as we get into the break, I want you to check out my Twitter feed at Dan Mandis Show, because it really is a great troll that people took notice of over the weekend, because basically it's Donald Trump in front of thousands of screaming, fans. And then you've got a sad and lonely Joe Biden futzing with a chair on the beach. And it really does paint a really vivid picture of where America seems to be anyway today. There's another social media video where the title was, does it really matter if the presidential motorcade drives down the streets of Washington, D.C., when literally nobody cares? And it's just like there's nobody lining the streets. There's nobody, waving at the motorcade. I think I saw one person who was taking a video, and really that's about it.
And they were probably recording something else.
They probably were. So the president, let's see if I got any. Oh, yeah, of course. He did bring up January 6th. This is, he brought up January 6th a number of different times, and he'll continue to do so because it's part of all they got.
Insurrectionists who stormed the Capitol with Confederate flags are called patriots by some. Not in my house. Black police officers, black veterans protecting the Capitol were called another word, as you recall.
So that is, of course, I'm here to tell you, clearly, obviously, very few Republicans or conservatives use that word. I mean, that is, I will tell you my belief and the truth, that very few people in America these days, in my opinion, actually use that word. But that was the testimony from those folks on the scene. Use of that word is never okay, period. Now, we could talk about the use of that word in songs, in the culture, but the reality is that politicizing that word shows the desperation of Joe Biden, shows the desperation of the Democrat Party. I think that's part of it as well.
They don't see you in the future of America, but they're wrong. To me, we make history, not erase it. We know black history is American history.
Has there been ever any Republican or conservative that wanted to erase black folks from the history books?
Not that I know of.
Not at my house.
Maybe President Biden ran into a few when he was driving a truck.
Dodging cicadas, I would.
Maybe that's what it is. And this was the soundbite that really did trigger me this weekend.
They don't see you in the future of America, but they're wrong.
Conservatives and Republicans don't see black folks in the future of America.
They don't see you in the future of America.
What does that even mean? Do you know what I mean? Somebody please ask Corinne Jean-Pierre, what exactly did President Biden mean when he said that they don't see you in the future of America? I'm sorry, but last time I checked, it's Donald Trump and his economy that put far more people across America, regardless of your skin color, in the position to succeed and make your mark on America. It's Biden's economy that is restricting people with all skin colors from succeeding here in the United States of America, and it has been that way really for the last couple of years. So for President Biden, this was a speech that just completely seemed like an act of desperation.
It was probably Clinton's speech back in 92 or 96.
Probably. I mean, here's the deal. It is Joe Biden that has created the America that these college grads are entering. You've got all of this illegal immigration, cities being destroyed by crime and soft on crime DAs. You've got inflation at all-time highs. You've got massive credit card debt. You've got homes that are impossible to buy. You got these students that are graduating into a world where it probably is going to be next to impossible until Donald Trump perhaps gets into office to pay off credit card debt because of those high interest payments, those high interest rates. I mean, look, those aren't black problems. Those aren't white problems. Those are American problems. And so that is, President Biden, and he is, again, clearly desperate. He can't figure out how to win back the black community. And so the only thing that he knows to do is to race bait. And that's it. And if that's all he's got, well, then clearly, and this is really one of the reasons why I'm bringing it up, is that if that really is all that he's got, that is actually a positive for Republicans. Because I just don't think that this is connecting with the American people or the black community. I just don't know if it's connecting with them anymore. I don't. I mean, obviously I'm not black, but the folks that I know who are black, of course, they lean more Republican anyway, but they see this kind of rhetoric as, again, just a sign of desperation when you look at the polls.